Hello, callers, and welcome back to Viva Barca. Welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest developing stories. We start with Ansu Fati, as it has been reported that the Barca forward was ready to separate from his agent over differing transfer stands. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then, secondly, talking about Marcelo Brozovic, as it has been reported that Barca cannot sign the 23 million euro rated midfielder unless asking price is reduced. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, as we get right into the stories in much detail, please do ensure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. It is safe to assume that Ansu Fati is making life difficult for Barcelona. At this moment, the Blaugrana board is keenly working on achieving financial fair play margin, and for that, high-profile player exits are of absolute necessity. In this context, the likes of Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati are understood to be Barcelona's main bet to be offloaded, but as it turns out, none of these players are willing to leave the club at the moment. In fact, journalist Alfredo Martinez via La Porteria claims that the young forward is very convinced of staying at Barca to the extent that he was ready to part ways with his representative Jorge Mendes because he was told that he had to leave the club. Over the last few weeks, reports have emerged that there had been some tensions growing between Fati and Josh Mendes. The reason is that the latter's desire to take his client away from Barcelona. The super agent was believed to be the idea of the youngster should pursue better options, but Fati insists on staying. Furthermore, it is even said that in order to continue at Barcelona, Fati has rejected several advancements from clubs like Wolverhampton Wanderers. As such, Mendes seems to have relented his efforts to convince Fati to leave. He said Ansu wants to stay. He wants to stay. He has scored 3 goals in his last games. What else do you want? He's a phenomenal, one of the best young players in the world. The agent told a press conference recently. At the moment, nothing is concrete except the fact that Ansu Fati wants to continue at Barcelona, and for that very reason, he is not speaking to other clubs as it stands. It is hypothetical situation. If Ansu Fati accepts to leave, his transfer will be pretty much straightforward as Barca would demand a standard fee and his full salary would come off the wage bill. But for this to happen, everyone must be on the same page, which currently they aren't. Of course, Ansu Fati has been that player that have been linked with an exit for majority of the summer, and honestly, as much as there are some people who want him to leave, all because of the club's financial issues, there are some that don't want Ansu to leave because it might just be like last season was an off season and he might come back to his best this season. But many don't see it in the same direction. By the way, Josh Mendes, we quite remember I think last month was insisting that Barca should sell him, and of course, he also advised the player to look for some more opportunities where he will have regular playing time and grow his career. But Fati, ever since then, have always refused that there is no way he's going to leave Barcelona, as he have not seen himself as going elsewhere. He wants to succeed at Barca, and he wants to make up for the bad season he had last time out. Honestly, I feel for Ansu Fati. This is a guy that, was in fact was a fan favorite just some few seasons back. But last season, many people were disappointed after a subpar performance from Ansu majority of the season. And even though we saw some glimpse of his brilliance towards the end of La Liga last season, many still believe that he might still bring that best out of him. Maybe he was coming back to his utmost best just when the season was finishing. And of course, Ansu Fati, despite that, still continues to be linked with an exit. Barcelona still wants to sell him. They are still open to selling him, but the player, as it stands right now, has still resisted. He still continues to refuse to leave the club. So it remains to be seen what happens for Ansu. And now this latest report claiming that the player was even willing to part ways with his agent, Josh Mendes, after the agent was forcing him that he should depart amid links to Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League, which looks like it won't go through because of Ansu's decision. Of course, we know Barca are currently going through a lot of financial constraints, all because of financial fair play and the salary margin, despite Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets deciding to say goodbye to the club. And many are still are surprised why would Barca suffer? What more if Piqué, Busquets, and Alba decided to continue at Barca? What could have happened? Meaning we couldn't have even signed players like Ilkay Gundogan or maybe some other players that have been signed. Honestly, a lot is going on. We know Barca can't go to the market to buy players if they don't sell these players or these out of favor stars. And so far, unfortunately, Barca haven't sold even one single player. One. And I don't know what's happening because most of the players are resisting. They are saying that they don't want to go. They still have a contract and stuff like that, which is really, really complicated in the club's end. And then moving on to the final story of discussion, fighting vigorously for the acquisition of a high-profile defensive midfielder, Barcelona have been telling Marcelo Brozovic for a while now, as the Croatian is seen as a top commodity in the market. Barca's attempts to sign the Inter Milan captain have far from being a walk in the park, as Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr are offering heavy competition in the race for his signature. While Inter reached an agreement over the transfer for the 30-year-old with Al Nassr, Brozovic's insistence to wait out a potential move to Barca has kept the Catalans in the running. However, despite the player not giving his initial or his final confirmation to the Saudi Arabian giants, as per journalist Luis F. Rojo, Barca are struggling to match Inter Milan's asking price for Brozovic, so if the Nerazzurri do not lower their asking price, a deal will be very difficult, with Al Nassr paying an estimated fee of around 23 million euros to the Italian club. Barcelona are finding difficulties raising the finances to meet that amount. Al Nassr offering Brozovic a contract worth 20 million euro per season, but personal terms at the moment do not appear to be the biggest issue for Barcelona. Owing to minimal departures, Barcelona have a great deal of work to carry out before they can meet Inter's asking price demands. Barcelona's continuous financial problems prevents the club from being able to pay any premium fee unless they are able to balance the books by selling unwanted figures. As such, if the Nerazzurri do not reduce their asking price, acquiring the Croatian will simply be a far-fetched dream. Barca are now looking for other short-term alternatives, which include the likes of Dani Parejo and Oriol Romeo. As for Brozovic, unless any concessions are being made in the price tag, he will not be recruited. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.